no one takes you seriously. They just automatically assume you don't know anything. They just think, oh
Yeah.
yeah, the Taylor Swift records are over there.
What's it like trying to build a vinyl collection when every pressing is hard to find and the scene isn't always welcoming? On today's episode of Pressed, I'm joined by Australian vinyl collector Jenny Jamball to talk about the unique challenges of digging for records in Australia and what it means to navigate vinyl culture as a woman in a male-dominated space. So I'm super glad to have you on, Jenny, and I just want to start out by asking you what your personal vinyl journey was like. Where did it start?
So, first of all, thank you for having me on. And
Yeah.
I guess for me, it started around 2010, 2011. I just graduated high school. And,
Mm,
like most people who finish high school, they don't really know what they want to do. So, I really loved art and music and photography. So, I just went straight into art school.
mm,
And in art school, I just realized everyone had such big personalities and they just had such an identity. And I was like, who am I? Like, what's my thing going to be?
mhm.
So I just kind of leaned into music. I've always loved music, always appreciated it. Growing up, it was a big part of my life. And, my parents kind of were still using old media, I guess, like
Mhm.
cassettes for a really long time, but
Yeah.
not records. So I kind of wanted to explore that a little bit. So that's kind of where it started for me. I just thought I need something to fit in this really crazy space where everyone's really cool and knows a lot about art. And I just was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So
Mhm.
just leaned into music and I found it super fascinating, but also really daunting because, 2010, 2011, at least in Australia anyway, collecting records or buying records was not
Yeah.
a thing that people were doing. So I chose something really hard to get
Right.
into. And there wasn't a lot of information out there. And it may be different in other parts of the world, but that was just my experience here in Australia. I just didn't know where to start. So I just kind of taught myself,
Mm.
which was good in a way, but also presented its own challenges because I just didn't really know a lot about anything. But that's part of the fun, I guess, kind of building that journey and going forward and trying to learn things for yourself. And yeah, it was good. It was an
Yeah.
interesting time.
You mentioned that, in Australia, it's a little different. Things are a little more difficult to come by. Like, what would that be? Has the vinyl craze not really hit Australia, or is it just more like it's hard to find certain pressings?
The vinyl craze is definitely here, but I kind of have seen it grown since, over the past 15 years or so.
Mhm.
When I first started, the only place you could get records, at least to my knowledge, because again, I was trying to figure it out on my own, was like a thrift store or something. And you know what the
Mm.
thrift store records are
Yeah.
kind of like. You're not finding
Yeah.
Beatles or anything there. It's just your
Yeah.
random jazz and stuff. So there wasn't a lot out there, but there was a really cool store in the city that's quite close to me, and that's been around since like the 90s, and that's where I kind of went and I was like, oh, these are my people. So that's kind of like the first place, and it's called Red Eye Records in Sydney. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about it. It's pretty popular online. So that's kind of where I started, but now it's definitely a lot more popular. But having been to America a few times now, it is
Mhm.
nothing compared to what it's like over in the US. Like here, I think, gosh, we might have about 6 or 7 really good record stores, like, close to me,
Mhm.
and most of the other stuff you'd be shopping online or different
Yeah.
states and things, so but it's really hard to find certain pressings. Anything with a name band is expensive. You're looking at, like, a 30 to $40 for a Boston album, which,
Mm.
my fiance Giggins thought was hilarious because we always joke about, we could just send all like the $2 bin records from the US to Australia and literally you could retire overnight because the
That's
prices are
crazy.
astronomical. They're
Wow.
so expensive and it's really challenging. But I guess in a way you really have to be selective about what you want to buy. You can't just
Mm.
have the opportunity to buy everything that you want. Unless you go to like a record fair, that's where most collectors, in my opinion, would find their best,
Mhm.
items because when you go
Yeah.
to a store, it's really challenging. Name band, you're
Mhm.
out. Like you're looking at you're gonna be paying up big for that. But I will
Yeah.
say that an advantage is because we're so close to Japan, we get a lot of really
Mm.
amazing Japanese pressings here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is a big plus. And I know some people don't really fly with Japanese records because I think it's a bit gimmicky with the obi strip, but I
Mm,
think it's cool and I really like it. So that I always buy them when I see them. So that's like the one small thing that we have here in
yeah.
Australia, which is kind of different to the rest of the world.
Are there any like bands that are like really hard to come by in Australia that you think are just like a dime a dozen? You kind of mentioned like the, Boston or whatever. Like, are there any other examples where it's like, yeah, you can't find, this band, but if I went over to the US or to Europe or something, they'd be everywhere.
Honestly, everything. It's it's
Yeah. Okay.
it's really hard. Like, you'll get an oversaturation of Beatles here, which but
Mm,
it's still expensive, which is crazy. You'll go into a store and there's like 50 Beatles records, but they're all $50 and up. And it's
wow.
like, "But look how
Yeah.
many you have. Like, why are you charging me this much?"
Hmm.
But surprisingly, one artist which is incredibly hard to come by is AC/DC, which you would think, "Oh, so
Really?
easy. They're Australian." But
Yeah.
everyone is just hanging on to those records, and rightly
Interesting.
so. Incredible artists, incredible band, hang on to those
Hmm.
pieces, but you cannot find them anywhere, and if you do, it's like hundreds for those pressings.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's
Whoa.
insane. It's really I don't have a AC/DC record. I want one, but
Yeah.
if you find them out in the wild, you're looking to pay up.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was just at the record store today, and there were 3 AC/DC records that I just like saw, and they were like $10 each or something.
Wow. Yeah. So you're rubbing it in.
I know, isn't that's so crazy? What's your experience been like as a woman in a mostly male dominated vinyl community? Even this show, even this podcast, there's so many more male or guys in this space. You're the first female that I've had on this segment, so that's super awesome.
It is hard, and I don't wanna, like, generalize and say that, like, every woman is gonna experience this what I've experienced, but I'm also
Hmm.
recognizing that I'm a female collector in Australia where it's a little bit harder, so my experience is probably a little bit different, but it is really challenging. I feel that especially being a new female collector back 15 years ago, it
Hmm.
was so hard, like, no one takes you seriously, they just automatically assume you don't know anything, they just think, "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, the Taylor Swift records are over there." Like, and that's fine if that's what you want,
Yeah.
but that's not what I wanted. I was like, I want
Yeah.
Beach Boys, I want surf, I want 90s like rock. That's what I want. But no, they just
Hmm.
don't want to hear what you have to say. And that's so hard, like coming from a place of like you genuinely like I wanted to learn. And every space I went into, it was like, you're not welcome here. Like, don't come and talk to us, like whatever. And I'm like,
Mm,
where am I meant to go? Like, I want to I want to be one of you guys, we all
mm,
like music and it's so wild to me because I feel like apart from like eating, sleeping and breathing, music is something we all universally appreciate.
yeah.
But it's like, why is there such a stigma around it? Like, we all listen to music and interpret it differently. That's fine. But why are
Hmm.
you not letting me into something that's so out there? It's not some secret club. We
Yeah.
all listen to music. I know that collecting records is maybe a little bit different, but it's pretty normal now. Most people do that. So I don't know
Mhm,
why it was so like gatekeepy, like you can't come in here, what kind of equipment do you have? What's your
mhm,
cartridge? What speakers do you have? And I'm like, I don't know, like I just want to listen to music. And I
yeah,
still say that. I still say like I'm a bad collector because I don't really care about I don't put a lot of value in what I play my records on. Like, of course I want something nice. I've got a nice Sony turntable, but it's not like
mhm,
the be all and end all for me. It's just like I
yeah,
enjoy listening to the music and I just don't know why they wouldn't let me into that club, but, that was at the start. My experience is very different now, especially gaining confidence as a collector.
mhm,
I feel like there's a lot more acceptance, and now that when I go to, like, record fairs, all the vendors will recognize me, like, "Hey, it's the Beach Boys girl. Look at the new stuff we got in. Like, let me show you," and that's so nice, but it took,
mm,
like, a decade to get there, a
wow,
long time to, like, prove myself, which why should no one should have to prove himself, male, female, or anything. You just should be allowed to listen and enjoy music as it was intended, so
mhm,
it's hard. Short
yeah.
story, it's hard.
What would be some advice that you would maybe have? You can be general, or you could talk to, like, other girls out there, but what would be some advice for some people just starting a collection?
I guess just don't let people bully you into liking things that you don't necessarily like. Like, it's okay if you don't like what's, popular right now, and it's also okay if
Mhm,
you do. I feel like that's another big thing, like, "Oh, you like I can't even think. Like Taylor Swift is a prime example. Everyone just assumes that
Sure.
everyone likes her, but you're forgetting popular music is popular for a reason because it's popular, because it's
Mhm.
good. So let
Mhm.
people enjoy it, So that was
Mhm.
a big thing for me. Like whatever I was listening to when I first started, it was like, oh, why are you listening to that? And it's why not? Music is there to be enjoyed. So that's one big thing for me. Don't let people bully you into what you like what you like. I mean, my favorite artists are well into their 80s, and that's fine with me. I think that's awesome. No
Mhm.
no problems there. And also just, educate, I think, from a place of kindness because, people you're continuously learning. Everyone's kind of learning through this, different pressings, different whatever. So it's like if someone comes to you with a question, just be kind and don't kind of be like, you don't know that? Well, how does anybody know? There was a time you didn't know either. How did
Yeah.
you find out? So just and maybe that's the educator in me. I'm very much like, I don't come at things with like, huh, you don't know that. It's like, you don't know, that's great. Let me tell you, this is awesome. Like, we can talk about this.
Mhm.
I think I get a lot of new collectors on my page. So that's another piece of advice. Come to me because I will never, ever, ever judge what you're listening to or what you're playing your records on. I'm always here to have open conversations and support you through this journey because I'm still learning too. We all are. No one knows everything. I would love to meet that person because they don't
Mhm.
exist. So
Yeah.
just I think realizing that even if people come across as know-it-alls, they don't know as much as you think they do. And
Mhm.
just, don't let them hold that power over you. Just enjoy what you want to enjoy. Like I said about being cringe, don't worry about it. Just like what you like and embrace it. And you'll find
Mhm.
your people. You will find your people. I found my people finally, and it's a great a great bunch of collectors that are just super awesome, love what they love. There's no negativity, and I just wish there was more of that, just a little bit more positivity and just
Mhm.
embracing people because there's no point gatekeeping music or record collecting. Like, if I love it, I want other people to love it. Isn't that the best thing about loving a band? I want you to love it too. We can share this instead of being like, "Ah, you can't listen to that." Why? Like, I don't know. I just think don't let people bully you and just find a good community and, keep asking questions. Always
Mhm.
ask questions. We can always learn more.
Yeah.
Always.
Let's change gears here. We're gonna go through a little bit of like a rapid fire question segment. So I'd love to know what your first vinyl that you bought was.
So my first vinyl was actually 3 because I found them online. So this is like the Australian equivalent of Craigslist. So it's
Okay.
called Gumtree. So this is
Mhm.
before Facebook Marketplace. And I remember this is when I first started collecting. I went to thrift stores. There was nothing in a thrift store. So I went on Gumtree and just typed in vinyl records. And there was a lady a couple of towns over, an older lady selling 3 Beatles records, Revolver, the White Album, and Beatles for Sale for
Wow.
$50. And I was like, and I didn't have a job at the time. So I just finished school, so I didn't have that. So that was like a big investment for me.
Mm.
And they were in great condition. And also the Beatles for Sale, the Australian version, has a completely different cover. So that in itself was
Wow.
really cool. It's like a
That is
yellow
cool.
cover with like little pictures of the guys. So it's completely
Mm.
different. So I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. So those were my first ever records. And I still have them. My parents,
Nice.
they're in their possession right now because I've got my
Okay.
own other copies, and also I didn't trust myself. I was like, oh, I've been moving so much. I don't want to break them. So
Yeah.
they've got them in their space and they play them all the time. They have been so well loved. And I'm so glad that those were my first ever records. I just thought that was so cool. Like, what are the
Yeah.
odds? It was so lucky. It was meant to be.
Yeah. That's amazing. Those are awesome first records for sure.
Yeah.
What about your most played record?
Oh gosh. That it changes day by day.
Mm.
But I think at the moment, since the start of the year, there's this really niche album. I think it's niche, at least for me, called Orange Crate Art by Brian Wilson and Van Dyke Parks, which came out in the late 90s. And I've been completely obsessed with this record. I play it every single day. So that is
Wow.
definitely up there because if you're in the Beach Boys scene, that's one of those albums that people are like, you like that album? Okay. Like, it's just
Mhm.
not it's forgotten, very forgotten, and I've just become totally obsessed with it since the start of this year. I've always liked it, but I don't know what switched. It was like January 1st, something switched in my brain and was like, this is what you're gonna play every day, and I
Mm,
have, and I just love it. I just love it. But if we're gonna
that's
go
amazing.
on new music, I actually really love the new Kesha album. I've been playing that a lot.
Okay, nice.
I
Yeah,
haven't heard many people talking about it, but I think it's really fun. I really like it.
yeah,
So it's like
yeah.
my two competing personalities, like my,
Okay,
the Beach
yeah.
Boys side, and then there's Kesha.
I
And
love
then
it.
also the new Budos Band album. I
Okay.
love that. I've everyone that like talks to me, I'm like, you have to listen to this. It is the funkiest, grooviest instrumental stuff you'll ever hear. It is
Mhm.
incredible. Like one of my top albums of the year. So that
Okay.
was 3 in 1 that I gave you there,
Yeah.
but I
No,
felt like I
that's
needed to give
perfect.
an array of what I've
Mhm.
been playing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great. And then what about like a desert island record? A record you couldn't live without?
Oh, I mean, there's many, and I guess the easy cop out answer could be Pet Sounds, but
Mhm.
I want to do something a little bit different. Still Beach Boys, but it's
Okay.
going to be Sunflower for me. Sunflower
Okay.
is so beautiful, and it's just unlike anything that was around at that time period. And every time I put it
Mhm.
on, I just feel calm and I just
Mhm.
feel happy, and it feels so chill. And I just imagine like they were vibing in that studio when they were making that. It was just so good. It's like magic in a bottle. That is one of the most incredible albums of all time. So
Mm.
I never get sick of it. So I could
Yeah.
play that over and over again. But I guess another album that I really like is Doolittle by Pixies.
Yeah.
That was like my favorite album as a teenager, and they say that music that you listen to as a teen sticks with you, and that's
Yeah.
another album that I just could play over and over and over, and it's just phenomenal. So,
Mhm.
again, I'm giving you a double answer there, but
Hey, that's fine. That's totally fine. And then last one, what about a dream pressing, or some people call this like their grail?
oh, there could be a few, but one that has never been pressed on vinyl, and it should, in my
Mhm.
opinion. And I know a lot of people agree because I've had many conversations with people online about this, but it is Imagination by Brian Wilson, which came out in
Mm.
1998. And it is just such a good album. It was in a strange period of his life. So, he had
Mhm.
separated from a very stressful situation and was trying to re-find himself again. So he was experimenting with a lot of different sounds. One of them was that Orange Crate Art album that I mentioned earlier, and this
Mhm.
was another album. So it was like 1998 he put this out. And it's just so good to hear Brian just making music again and not feeling like he's being pressured into anything. He can just make music, and
Mhm.
it's such a great album. I really enjoy it. Some people don't like the production on it, but I don't care. I think it's really
Yeah.
good. And
Yeah.
if that was to ever come out on vinyl, I would flip. Like,
Mm.
and I'm
Yeah.
really hoping it does someday. Especially now with his passing, so unfortunate and so sad. I
Mhm.
hope that they look deeper into his catalog and release, things that we haven't had access
Yeah.
to before. That would just be such a joy to fans, and what a way to keep the legacy alive.
Mhm.
So, Imagination, Brian Wilson, that's my pick.
Amazing. I love it. Well, this is kind of the end here. I appreciate having you on. It was so fun to just hear a little bit about your vinyl journey and some of your favorite things, and yeah, just some of the challenges also involved in it. So, appreciate you coming on, and yeah, we'll hopefully have you on again sometime soon.
I would love that. Thank you so much for having me. It was great.
Awesome. All right. Guess we'll tune in next week for another episode and another guest.